Well, why don't we get started, everyone? Thanks for joining us here in Arizona. It's another sunny day. My name is Jim McPherson. I'm volunteer board president of the Arizona Preservation Foundation, our statewide historic preservation advocacy organization. And we started this webinar series because of COVID. Let's face it, COVID's changed all of our lives. And we had scheduled a in-person statewide conference in June, and we were all ready to do that. We were planning for months, and then COVID hit, and we said, what do we do? I mean, we just can't, we have all this wonderful content. We have a lot of people who want to continue on discussion of historic preservation in Arizona. What do we do? So we decided to put together a condensed version of our conference, got a Zoom account that could take everybody, and put the conference on in June, same day, a one-day event, and we had over almost 700 people attend. And this is not only Arizona, but across the country. Knock on wood, it worked out. But then we thought, because of COVID, and because this, knock on wood, worked out well, we should continue the dialogue because there was such strong interest in continuing the conversations of the topics that we're talking about, and then new conversations. And so we continue the Zoom account and have had one webinar to date, and that was back in late August on the Dunbar Pavilion and the challenge of preserving Black place as Black space in Tucson, Arizona. And we had about 80 people on that Zoom. Again, mixture of Arizona folks and folks from outside of the state. And coming up next week, we'll be having another webinar on examining the role of diversity and inclusion in Arizona archaeology. So we're going to continue these webinars, and we encourage you to let us know if you have ideas for webinars in the future. We've got the account. We would be happy to work with you. And these webinars are put on not just by Arizona Preservation Foundation, but also our friends over at the Arizona State Historic Preservation Office. We work together on these. And let me introduce to you Lonnie Lott, who is the executive director of the Arizona Downtown Alliance, which is a program of the Arizona Preservation Foundation. And she's been gracious to put together an incredible panel of local professionals in preservation and community development, revitalization, and to talk about today's topic. So Lonnie?
Great. Thank you, Jim, and welcome everyone. So excited to have this great panel, and thank you to my panelists for taking time out today to share how they're pivoting for the holidays, as well as some of their other events that they've been hosting, and how they've pivoted due to the pandemic. So I'm just trying to get out of my full screen because I just see Jim's big great face there. So anyways, we have a very robust presentation. We have 4 communities that will be sharing. We have Casa Grande Main Street, Safford Downtown Association, and the Graham County Chamber of Commerce, and then also Kingman Main Street, and then wrapping it up with Vail Connects, Vail Preservation Society, Vail, Arizona. That is, I always like to put that Arizona in there because we're very proud of Vail, Arizona. So each panelist is going to have about 20 minutes, and we'll give 5 minutes for questions after each of the panelists for questions specific to their presentation. And then we should have enough time at the end for just questions in general, or sharing, or if you have an idea that you would like to throw the panelists, because I know we all have ideas about how we're seeing our events pivot during these strange times. So with that said, I am going to have Holly introduce herself from Casa Grande Main Street, and she can go ahead. Oh yes, a little housekeeping, sorry. Holly, you can go ahead and start sharing your screen. If you have questions during the presentation, just type them in the chat box down there where you see chat, or if you're having problems accessing the Zoom, we do have the login information there. So that is where we'll be managing the questions, as well as we will be videotaping this presentation and making it available on both Arizona Preservation Foundation's website, as well as the Arizona Downtown Alliance website, as well as the PowerPoint presentations themselves. So with that said, Holly, take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Holly Ricosi, and I am the director of Casa Grande Main Street. I started at the beginning of March, so it's been a fun time. See if it'll work. Oh, no. There we go. So, I mean, everyone's obviously been impacted by COVID. Our main issue with it was the fundraising. So we had Arizona Gives Day planned as an in-person event, usually pretty successful, and we had to cancel that. We did, in a sense, go to an online method, but because of when it was taking place, we actually focused more on the nonprofits that were closer to the community. So in our means of promoting Arizona Gives Day, we actually suggested that they just donate in general. And we highlighted like the food bank, Seeds of Hope, Boys and Girls Club. So the organizations that more largely impacted the community that was being affected at the time with COVID. So we did, take a hit there, but I was okay with that. And then our annual meeting got postponed. There was no Fall Fest. Our street fair hasn't been able to be approved for a special events permit. So that's our largest fundraiser. So just very, it's been a tough time for funding, but through that all, we focused on what we could do. And I realized that, what we could do is focus on our businesses downtown because they were taking just as big of a hit, if not more than we were. So I shifted our focus to mainly social media since that's a free tool that everyone has and was using it largely at the time. We really helped in the sense that a lot of the mom and pop shops down here don't typically do a lot with social media. So it was a nice new thing for them. And a lot of the restaurants who had it but weren't quite using it all the way, they definitely increased, and we kind of became a platform for them to reach more people. Same thing for the retail once they were open back up again. And so we've just become a larger platform for them to use through us. I think we reach on Facebook, I think it's like 3,200 people. So it's not huge, but it's more than most of the businesses have. And then we actually worked with our Chamber of Commerce and the city. The city provided the shirts, and we have this ongoing, the Love Local CG campaign. And I'll go into that later, but that was something that the city came to us with, and we've been working with them, I think, since June on it, and it's really kind of taken off. And then we focused on building a sense of community and kind of trying to bring everyone back downtown, especially with COVID, and it was election year. So let's face it, there was a lot of divide. So I felt like we needed a sense of community back in Casa Grande just to play off of the Love Local, and that's really picked up. So here's what our shirts look like. We actually had another one, but this tended to be the one that everyone wanted. And what happened was one of the council members created these shirts, and he just loved them for the simple fact of he loves Casa Grande, and he wanted just people to have them. So he came to Main Street and Chamber, and we agreed to sell them. And actually the Chamber sells them. It was easier to go through one person keeping track of the money. And then I kind of became more of the promotion side of it. And it really kicked off. I think we sold out of the black shirts within a couple weeks. And then we've actually ordered more since the shirt started. We've ordered female cuts. We've ordered tank tops. We've ordered masks that say the Love It on it on the side. And it really did pick up a sense of community in that side too. And then, so we started with trying to get people to go out and show their CG love and their CG pride. So we asked that people take pictures in front of certain landmarks in certain areas. We had the neon sign park as one of them. The libraries were one of them. Any of the historic buildings ended up being one of them. To take the picture, post it on social media, use the hashtag #LoveLocalCG, and then they were entered into a prize. And I don't think as many people entered into the hashtag that we wanted, but to this day, we still see people wearing these shirts out and about, and everyone's asking where to get them. So it definitely did what we wanted it to. And then we it kind of died down. And so I went to a couple of the Main Street restaurants and asked if there was a way that they could help us bring it back. And that's where the perks kind of came in. So we have 5 Main Street restaurants, 4 participated in the perks. Eva's Fine Mexican Food offered 10% off of their meal. Cookie Jar offered a free cookie. Big House offered 15% off a meal, and then CGQ House offered a free appetizer or dessert with purchase of an entree. And so it was just kind of another fun thing to get people to go to these restaurants. So it helps our local businesses, and then it also spreads the love. And then our stage 3, we are reopening again, and it's going to kick off on Small Business Saturday. And we're going to use the Shop Small signs that were given and provide photo ops in front of these businesses, still using the Love Local CG, and again with a prize, but trying to continue to get people to these local places. So I talked about community building, and this is kind of where I've really focused my energy. We recently had a Halloween downtown stroll, super successful. I've incorporated a decorate and ornament program. It's between Main Street and another organization. We're focusing on lighting up the downtown and wrapping the trees, focusing on Small Business Saturday. And then we are doing a cornhole tournament, and I'm calling it a downtown day in December. I'll go more into that in a second. So here's our Halloween downtown stroll with our cute little witches down there. So one of the biggest issues we ran into is that Main Street cannot sanction events right now because we cannot get permits to close off streets. So we've been trying to figure out ways to get people downtown without full on having like a Main Street event. And what I ended up doing was actually one of the businesses came to me and asked if we were doing anything for Halloween, and I told them that we can't. And so they wanted to hand out candy, and they asked if I would be willing to hand out candy, and I said okay. And then she got another business to hand out candy. So from there, it kind of turned into one of these, like, okay, if all of these businesses agree to hand out candy and follow, you know, the COVID guidelines, then we don't have to close any streets off. So that's what we did. And so Main Street, we promoted it as an event downtown, and we purchased the balloons that were going in front of the businesses who were participating, and we marked, you know, the route so that people weren't crossing and having the too much, you know, congestion in the area. And we obviously encouraged everyone to follow the guidelines, and for the most part, everyone did. And we had between 400 and 500 kids show up, which I'm sure you're all rural, so I'm sure you understand that that's kind of a big thing. I don't think they've had anything like that downtown in quite a few years. And since the city wasn't hosting their carnival, we were the only thing in town that day at that time. And we actually are the only event that had like hand to, you know, bag contact. And so the kids actually enjoyed walking around wearing their costumes, and it was really cute. So moving forward to our decorate and ornament. Like I said, I worked with another organization, Art Mobile. So she's a nonprofit organization that focuses on, a lot of it is like art therapy, but she does like curbside clay and works with Seeds of Hope and does all kinds of things like that. So I got with her and asked her thoughts on it. And we ended up with our little information over there, and Main Street purchased the wooden ornaments, and then Art Mobile created the kits. And we gave out, I'm trying to think, I know I gave out 50 to the police department rangers, and I have all their ornaments back. And then she actually works with Boys and Girls Club and Seeds of Hope. And so they're participating and giving those to their kids as a fun activity to do. And then we've actually put these kits in our local businesses, which down at the bottom of the flyer it shows. So Cookie Jar, Big House, CGQ House, and Arizona Native Lotions and Soaps with Friends. So my hope was to get people into these businesses to get these free, you know, kits. And while they're in there, hopefully they buy something as well and keep going back. And ultimately, the ornaments are going to be hung up outside on the canopies along Florence Street. So kids will also want to come by and find their ornament, again, bringing them back to the downtown and hopefully stopping in by these businesses as well. So we moved to our Light Up Downtown, which actually started today. Super excited, but I don't have any pictures. We have, and it's actually up to 26 trees as of an hour ago. We're going to the tree. And that's something, I guess, that a lot of people have been wanting to do. I guess there just wasn't like the avenue to do it. We ended up finding, well, actually he came to us, Outdoor Illuminations, and he offered to do an in-kind membership with us and provide a discount to the trees. So basically it's for supplies only is what the price ended up being, and came to me with that price. And I went out and asked our local businesses, our local organizations, and just a couple of individuals. And between everyone, we've had 26 trees be sponsored, which is another fun, just community building event. And there's not much to bring people downtown Casa Grande a lot. So having, or at nighttime, so having the trees lit up will definitely be a fun pool for that. And then APS kicked in. And so our city typically does an electric light parade. That got canceled, COVID. And what they did was an electric light tour and wanted businesses who normally built floats to create like a display. So APS was one of those. And came to me and offered a pretty good chunk of money to make the Neon Sign Park their entry in the electric light tour. So because of that, we were able to wrap 8 trees that are pretty large in the park and use anything left over to kind of fill in whatever we don't have downtown lit up. So we're hoping to be kind of a center of, you know, nighttime fun and just picture taking and kind of doing the stuff that Tempe usually does in Gilbert and Chandler. So trying to put ourselves on the same field as them. Moving forward to, I'm sure everyone's favorite, Small Business Saturday. We actually have a lot going on, as you can see. As Main Street, we've decided, I know that they've done passports in the past, and it seems like something that's fairly easy to do. And as long as you offer a prize, I feel like people are probably going to do it, especially right now when they know that businesses are struggling. And Casa Grande has really stepped up in that way to shop local and support our small businesses. I'm not going to put together a list of members for people to visit. I'm going to hand them our downtown guide and let them go explore. I don't want to limit it to just 10 members. I want them to be able to pick their 10 Main Street members that they go to. So that's where that is. And they're going to have little stickers that put that they've been to that shop, and then they'll come and turn it in and hopefully get a prize. We've also reached out to Sticks and Bones Tattoo Shop. So he's our only Main Street tattoo artist, and he has agreed to offer discounted tattoos, and he's going to create what they are, but offering these tattoos if you show a receipt from a retail shop from a Main Street member. My goal with this was to reach the younger demographic who might not understand the importance of supporting local and shopping small. Not that they'll, always understand that from this, but tattoos are really popular with the younger demographic. And he actually does really well when he does things like this for other organizations. He's done some for the Humane Society and always has a good response. So I think it'll be a really good pool in there, and then he'll get business from it as well. And so will our retail shops downtown. And then, like I discussed with the Love Local, the phase 3 with the photo ops in the businesses, we're marking those out, I believe, next week, and making sure that, where we put the X, you can have the sign and then also see the business behind them. Post on social media with the Love Local CG, Shop Small Casa Grande, and then be entered into a drawing. So moving on to our cornhole tournament, Saturday, December 5th. It's actually our first fundraiser since, I believe, the street fair in January. So we're very excited about it. We chose to do a cornhole tournament because they've picked up momentum since they're socially distanced in general because of how far the boards are, and you can do a bracket fairly easy with it and keep everyone kind of spaced out until it's their time to play. So we have that going on at the Neon Sign Park. However, that was the day that the Electric Light Parade was supposed to be, and typically on that day, the city puts on a winter wonderland downtown. Obviously, that's not happening. So we went to our downtown businesses and asked them if they would all consider hosting an activity at their location, kind of in the same way that we did Halloween, so that it's not an actual event, but there's plenty to do and people can travel on the sidewalks, and it's not breaking any of the COVID guidelines because they can still be followed in that shop and you can easily count your numbers. The pictures with Santa, I'm not quite sure how they've figured out how to do that with the social distancing, but they're planning on doing it and following all the guidelines. And I think that that's the only place in Casa Grande that will be offered. We're going to have a cookie decorating station. I think that she's giving out kits to do it, and then they kind of take them home or to the Neon Sign Park or somewhere and do them. We're going to have face painting, I think at 2 locations, handing out art kits. I did get an email last night. Somebody wants to do a Christmas card station and do kind of the same thing with kids. So it's just a fun way to get people down here into these businesses. And again, there's not a lot for kids to do, so it's very fun for them. And I think it'll be a good turnout, hopefully. So moving forward to 2021, we hope to host a street fair in March. All depends on COVID and what the city feels comfortable approving special events permits. But we've penciled in the second weekend of March, which is typically when we do the annual art explosion. So we're hoping to merge those into just one big downtown event, maybe block off more roads than typically would be required. But for nothing happening in a year, I feel like that's very fair and understandable. And moving forward, I'm hoping to do more of like the downtown days where just businesses all just pitch in and participate at their location. I think that that's the best method that we've kind of learned to get people into those businesses and get them through the doors. And that's what my goal is as the Main Street Director, is to get people down here and to the businesses. It's their job to sell, but if I can get them down here and these businesses just doing something out of the goodness of their hearts and trying to provide an activity, and people are responding to it really well. And there's my contact information. So
great. Thank you very much, Holly. Mm-hmm. Very creative. I just love how you're using social media. So if anybody has a specific question for Holly in Casa Grande about any of her activities or programs, go ahead and feel free to type it in the chat box. Otherwise, we'll give it a couple minutes while Holly stops sharing her screen, and we'll get Vance and Danny ready to go. So I don't see, and feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like to ask the question also in person, since we are on a webinar. It does work well that way too. Tammy Parker said, thank you, Holly. So that was nice.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so I guess, and if you come up with another question, just, we will, oh, okay. We do have a question here from, how will they do the face painting, Holly?
So they've discussed with the thinner masks, where it's white on the outside, they've kind of discussed working that into the face painting. So obviously the person providing the face painting will wear a mask, and then doing it that way where the kid wears it, and then kind of using that as part of it.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Vivian? I hope so. That sounds great. Okay, so let's go ahead. Thank you so much, Holly, and best of luck on your cornhole tournament. And I can't wait to see your pictures of your light up downtown tonight on your Facebook. I'm sure you'll be posting. So
I don't know if they'll be turned on yet.
Oh,
I want to turn them on, but apparently people think it's taboo to turn them on before Thanksgiving. So
Oh my gosh, I think I'd turn them on like
I
maybe
feel like
2 months
after
ago.
2020, it's justifiable, but
Good point. Okay, so now I'd like to go ahead and have Danny Smith from the Safford Downtown Association and Vance from the Graham County Chamber go ahead and take it away. And if you want to introduce yourselves and then go ahead and start with your presentation.
All right, good afternoon. I am Danny Smith with the Safford Downtown Association. In Safford, we have our little downtown. We have about 117 different businesses. Not all of them are retail businesses, and they have about 800 employees. And I've been doing this for, I've been caring about downtown for the last 25 years. I had a retail store in downtown Safford, which I sold a number of years ago, and it's still here in the Gila Valley. But that began my interest in downtown. 22 years ago, I started our little downtown association. And we are tiny. We have a $9,000 a year budget, but we've done some incredible projects, some $1 million projects, and we're in the midst of rebuilding a theater, which is a $780,000 project. And we have this tremendous relationship with the city of Safford and the Graham County Chamber of Commerce, where we all work together. So I like to say we're like this organization with a budget of 9,000, and then we have this city staff budget of salary of people that help us of a couple $100,000 that we don't have to pay for. So I'm jealous of all these places that have a Holly or a Gina or these other people part of the staff. We don't. We just have our hardworking board. Bree Morris and Vance. You're going to get to meet Vance here in a minute, of course. Bree has got a sick little one at home today. But I will tell you that since Vance and Bree began working at the chamber, the energy that they bring to the chamber and to our downtown group by extension has been really wonderful. They work their tails off. And so I'm excited for you to hear from Vance. Vance is controlling my screen today at his office. So Vance, if you want to move one step forward. Or Vance, you want to introduce yourself now?
Sure, I can right now. Just Vance Price from the chamber. Been working here about 1.5 years. Danny's been an awesome mentor. Been doing this work a lot longer than me, and helping me find my footing here and get the ropes. And especially this year in 2020, we've really learned a whole lot about our community and learned how to focus on what's important and what we can change moving forward. So excited. Thanks for the invitation from Lonnie to speak today. And let's see if that moves. Okay.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and I forgot to say, so Lonnie's been helping our downtown association. I think we met in about 2004 or so. She helped us with our through a charrette study that we did and through our plan that we still work from today. And she helped us come back. She came back a couple of years ago and helped us update that. So I want to share some things that we've done and some ideas that we've had, and I'm looking forward to stealing all of your ideas. I have a rule. If I say your idea 3 times, it's mine. So if you see any of your ideas stolen, I have absolutely done that. I will tell you. Since COVID hit, we got really active on social media, like a lot of people did. We started doing some things like these takeout days, using our Instagram, Facebook accounts that we have for our downtown association. We did one called $27 on the 27th, and we had big prizes for people that showed pictures of their receipts on Facebook and Instagram. And we did a dozen or more of these different kinds of events like that, promoting our businesses downtown. One of the things that, one thing that happened was I had a person call and say they were really concerned about this specific business being closed because of COVID. It was a restaurant. And they thought, is there a place we can give some money and help them out? I said, well, just give them the money. Just buy $1,000 gift certificate, and you'll help them more than anything that I could do. And from that, we dreamt up this little gift certificate program. And at first, it was called our Invest in Safford gift certificate. And I went and raised $39,000 from United Way and the city of Safford, and worked with the chamber for some advertising money. And we created these paper gift certificates. I wanted to do it online, but I couldn't figure out a way where it wouldn't cost us, I don't know, $5,000-$6,000. And I thought we could pump that into our businesses, and it'd be, so we administered this little paper gift certificate. We had, by the time we did the Gila Valley gift certificate program, where we went valley wide, we had 45 businesses participate, and customers could buy a gift certificate to these 45 different businesses for $6, and it was worth 10. And so real quickly, they began to ask themselves, well, how many of these can I buy? And we didn't have a limit on them. We had a limit per business, but then the business could limit customers if they wanted to. But some people really caught on to that quickly. They could see the value in that. And that was the point. We turned that, well, let's see, about $39,000 into $180,000 into those 45 businesses in just about 6 weeks. And the way it worked was people could buy them for 6 and redeem them for 10, but the business could submit the little tab from the certificate, and we would reimburse them $3 of those 4 missing dollars. So they had a 10% investment, but lots of times certificates don't ever get turned in anyways. So that was, the kind of the risk they took. But we had some businesses that were real savvy, like Holly was talking about. Some of our businesses that were kind of prepared for this, and some were not, right, for COVID. One of our women's clothing stores that, has 18,000 Instagram followers. Well, she sold her first batch of 300 or 500 certificates in 45 minutes to her customers, because they got it, real quick. And so we were able to get, $900, $1,500, $3,000 or $4,000 into these businesses real quick, many of which were closed trying to unravel the different programs, the PPP program and other programs that would help. So we helped them pay the light bill and pay their rent and things like that real quickly. So anyways, that was a great program. I've seen that a few other places. Downtown Tucson did it. We helped Ajo set theirs up. And moving on, the Gila Valley Takeout Stimulus Plan. That is a mouthful, literally. We created this Facebook page called Gila Valley Takeout Stimulus Plan. And we had about 2,500 people join it just in the first week or two. And then we really pumped specials from these restaurants out on social media, and the restaurants could put their daily specials on there. And it sort of became an online clearinghouse for daily specials for our restaurants that were closed. That drew a lot of attention to some of our restaurants that were, had their walk-in business closed, but could still do takeout business. In northern Arizona, northeastern Arizona, actually, they had an Arizona COVID-19 business team. The cities and towns, the counties, their junior college, and some of their larger businesses came together once a week. And this is what we did. We formed the same team in our area with our SBDC and our workforce development office and our mayors and city managers, county managers, Vance from the chamber, everyone that could help a business. We met once a week there for 2 or 3 months during the shutdown. And we talked about businesses that we could help. We talked about businesses, that didn't make it through the first PPP loan program, and connected them with another bank to help them out. And we just tried to keep our businesses from falling through the cracks. And it finally waned off in the end, but I've heard from several people that they really thought that was a good thing that we did. Vance, can you go forward one more slide? Oh, Vance, you're up.
Yeah, so part of that Gila Valley stimulus, so that page was a Facebook page that Danny started, and all kinds of restaurants were posting their daily specials. They were posting how to get food from them, because a lot of times either they didn't have their own Facebook page or couldn't control their website to change it. And getting word out was starting to be a concern, but how are we, everyone wanted to spend money. Every time I turned around, someone in the community wanted to make sure our restaurants didn't close. And so the municipalities got together and decided to fund a marketing plan. So with 2 of our local media outlets, we have the Gila Herald and the Gila Valley Central.net. We created these directories, listings of restaurants and how to order from them. So you can see these 2 images down on the bottom on how to go about ordering food. So that was really awesome. That happened right at the beginning in March. City of Safford went as far as putting up cones and signs outside of local restaurants to reserve parking spots for curbside pickup, so that wasn't an issue. We do have a kind of a crunch on parking at some times of the day in downtown, so they were able to reserve those spots for people who were doing the curbside pickup. Oops, a bit too far. And then another thing that side by side with everything else that was going on, we at the chamber got a grant from Local First Arizona and the Vitalist Foundation to do a Eat Local Gila Valley campaign. And so you can see the logo down on the left, some of our local farmers on the right. We've got a Ingles Orchard and Carter's Custom Cuts. Carter's processes local beef and pork. And we were able to emphasize, along with buying local from restaurants, buying local from retail locations, to source your food locally. And so that was a really fun campaign. We still have a bunch of water bottles and bags that we're giving out here at the Gila Valley Farmers Market. The Gila Valley Made is a group of over, I think it's up to 47 local makers who create, right now they're doing a ton of ornaments, doormats, Christmas decorations. So just a big collaboration of folks who used to drive up to Gilbert and sell in those fairs up there, or different places with a larger audience. But now we've turned inward for COVID and created our own local Gila Valley made mall. So that's been great. Another thing, we founded a farmer's market during the pandemic and did a webinar on how to create a farmer's market business. There were a lot of people putting in gardens. Everyone saw the runs on the stores with the paper goods and the food. And so we started a farmer's market that's open every day at the chamber. Instead of doing a farmer's market every week on Saturday, we decided to spread it out from Monday to Saturday while the chamber and visitor centers open here. And so that way we have a trickle. We have a steady trickle of people coming in. It's never crowded. We require a mask, and we clean everything down so we can keep it safe and still do business. So it's been great. We've actually seen our sales tax for all 3 municipalities and the county, and I could confirm that with Danny, but for sure all 3 municipalities jump quite a bit. And it's going to be a great argument as we start to reopen, as people start traveling. We have a lot of people who love going to urban areas over the weekend, and we totally understand people have their favorite restaurants, more diverse food options, totally cool. But we want to show people, look what we did during COVID. Look how beneficial rallying the troops was. So it's been a really huge learning experience, and a huge experiment this whole year. And I'll turn it back over to Danny.
Thank you, Vance. Yeah, COVID for us, we're pretty isolated out here in Safford, Arizona. We're 2 hours from Tucson, 3 hours from Phoenix. We're isolated geographically, and it was the largest, impromptu retail leakage study that we could ever hope to accomplish. We could never do it again, meaning we could measure our increase in retail sales, in sales tax, and we could see the businesses who really did well during COVID. We could see just how much is being spent outside of our community, in the larger places. Like Holly was talking about, we ran into a lot of people that were ready for COVID, some that were not, right? Some of our restaurants, we know, we love them. But, someone driving through town doesn't necessarily know where to go eat. Some people, like the one women's store that I mentioned with 15,000 Instagram followers and sells online, she's really with it. And then we have the opposite of that with another business down the street that doesn't use social media, doesn't use an online presence to propel their business. So something that we're working on, and we haven't gotten it done yet. We're trying to get this done before Christmas, but we are proposing a grant program to help applicants. We envision about 30 different businesses. We have some that we definitely are targeting, where a program in which we plan to hire this company, WBNK Media, which is an expert in social media and the use of it to drive their business. And then 5Site Creative, which is the red logo. They are graphic art and e-commerce. And we want to take those two and pair them with a business and have them complete their online presence and show them how to use these tools. And instead of in a workshop that people come to and listen to speakers, what we would like to do is we would like to send these two individuals, in this case, to their office to sit down with them at their computer and show them how to get the most out of Facebook, Instagram, TripAdvisor, Twitter, all of the different tools that people are using and flipping through their phone right now. Vance at the Chamber has found a pot of money through a COVID-19 response grant through the governor's office that he is applying for to help us get that program done. And we're hoping to do that in January, February. We think the program will last 2 months and then culminate in a couple of meetings in which everyone who's gone through the program meets and then talks about their successes and how to continue to get the most out of using social media to drive their business. That's what that's about. We are actually going forward with our what we call Merry Main Street and our 23rd annual light parade and an event called Safford Sparkles, albeit a little differently in a COVID world. Our Merry Main Street event is an event in which we have things for kids to do on Main Street that are all free, and we have about 5,000 people that attend that. So we don't know what we're going to get this time, but we have done lots of things to mitigate for COVID. In our case, we're a separate organization, so we apply to the city of Safford. They have an ability to allow us to have an event as much as we can prove that we are going to mitigate the chance of COVID-19 spreading. So we've definitely done some things to the Merry Main Street event. We had to eliminate all the obvious things like the bounce houses for kids and carnival rides and games and things like that. We're still planning on having our tree lighting ceremony. We have Santa, who is behind like a picture frame where people can take a picture with Santa at a distance. The individual businesses are, many of them are still doing what they do. We have a treasure hunt that night in which we hide hundreds of dollars of different prizes, and then like a grand prize of about $500 in gift certificates. We actually hide them downtown, and people look for them through ridiculously hard clues. And so in this case, that part of the event spreads people out all over downtown because they're looking above and under and around everything they can to find these prizes. And then our light parade, we increased the route to almost 2.5 times longer than it normally is. And we're going to encourage the best we can that people spread out along that route to spread out the crowd. There again, we have about 5,000 people that come to that event. Safford, there's a couple other events that I'm leaving out, but Safford Sparkles is one that Vance and his chamber does for us. And then the city of Safford does a movie night, and they are still planning on doing that. So we've been really grateful that we've been able to do that. It's been a roller coaster trying to plan them, trying to know when or if we could or should pull the plug with deadlines for things that are already paid for or things that need to be arranged. It's been difficult, but right now, knock on wood, we're still on track. Has anyone heard of 1 Million Cups? It's something that I ran into, and Vance and I and a few others visited. It's an idea in which, there's chapters of 1 Million Cups all over the country. It's founded by the Kauffman Foundation. And the idea is that over 1 million cups of coffee, entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship ideas come together every day, all year long. And in this case, they have institutionalized that, where in different communities, we went to one in Mesa. Once a week, they have 2 entrepreneurs or people that have a business idea, and they meet for 1 hour of coffee. They don't make it any harder than it needs to be, but they let the two entrepreneurs introduce their business idea. And there in the crowd are the other entrepreneurs, people from the city, people from the chamber, people from all the entities that could help this entrepreneur get started and be successful. And in that hour, the neatest thing about it to me is once the 2 entrepreneurs present, the community asks them, "What do you need from us to help you be successful?" And so we were talking about launching this in March, and we got coronavirus delayed, obviously, where starting a new event where people come together didn't seem like the responsible thing to do. So, but through the process, we kind of dated Kauffman Family Foundation folks and learned more about their requirements and what they expected. And it really works better in a large community like Phoenix or Atlanta or other places like that, because they really wanted us to meet every week with 2 new entrepreneurs. We didn't think we could fulfill that in Safford, Arizona. So we're going off on our own. In our case, we're gonna name it Tailgate. In our neck of the woods, people do a lot of business over the tailgate of a pickup truck. We're going to rip off their idea. We're going to use all of the ways that they've been successful, and we're hoping to implement that at the beginning of next year. So anyways, thank you very, very much. What a chance to learn from you all, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Danny. And Jim said we should all steal and start tagging Mary Main Street. So I'll say it 3 times and then it's mine.
Yes.
Great job. Great job. Holly says she's jealous because you get to have your Mary Main Street event. So maybe Holly, you could go down there and do some market research on and see how they do it. And I was thinking for your light parade, Danny, have you guys thought like maybe places where cars could back in like they're doing with the movie theater, or they could back in and have them open up their car and watch the parade that way to help spread out the people? I know cars aren't always allowed on a route, but
Yeah, there's a few parking lots on this new route where people, I'm sure, will do that. Yeah.
great. So I have couple people said genius, one person, and I gave him your email, Vance, that he wants to know how to start the farmer's market. So you may be hearing from this gentleman, Mr. Ritz.
Yeah, I would
And-
love to talk about it.
Great. And is there anybody that wants to unplug their video, their mute and ask a question live? Feel free. Otherwise, go ahead and type it in there for Danny and Vance. And anytime you guys are over in southeastern Arizona in their territory, look up Danny or Vance or both of them, and they love to give you a tour of what they've done. They're being very gracious in terms of all the work that they've done over the last 20 years to really rebuild and reestablish their beautiful community. So they love to give a tour, and I'm sure that you would be pleasantly surprised of this wonderful community. Anybody have another one? Otherwise, we'll move on to our next presenters from Kingman Main Street. Okay, go ahead, Gina, and you can start to share your screen and we'll go from there.
Okay. So hi everyone, my name is Gina Gavazzi. I'm the program coordinator for Kingman Main Street. Our board president, Sarah Ferry, is also in the meeting today, but I'll be the one presenting. So thank you to Lonnie. We're so happy to be here and to hear from other Arizona Main Street organizations. So very grateful for that. So I'll go ahead and get into it. So I'll start with explaining some of the things we've been doing in the past several months to support our small businesses. I also started my position in March, so this has been like my main focus since I got here in Kingman. So some of the things that our organization was able to do was some gift card giveaways. So what we did was we reallocated some of our funds, and this was around June or July. And we went to our downtown businesses and bought up gift cards, $15 each, because that was what was within our budget. And then we have a decent following on our social media. So every day we would say, okay, we're doing a giveaway for this coffee shop downtown. So in order to enter to win, like this post, and then in the comments, tell us what your favorite thing about this coffee shop is, or what your coffee order is, or something like that. So, giving the $15 to a business is obviously a drop in the bucket in terms of what we could do monetarily. But really the idea was to remind the community of some of the amazing businesses we have in our historic downtown area. And also, for a business owner to see that post and to go through the comments section and see all the things that our community loves about their business was a really great morale booster. So we did those gift card giveaways for probably a month, and it got a lot of people to our downtown district, which was great. We also, of course, have a COVID-19 resource page on our website. So we constantly update that with resources from, federal funding like SBA loans and relief programs, some of the things that some of the programs our city has been implementing, which I'll touch on in a minute. Yeah, so, and of course, posting relief programs on our social media. Our local Small Business Development Center has a lot of webinars and learning opportunities for small businesses to adapt during this time. And so honestly, a lot of what we've been doing is pushing information to the small business owners, which in itself is a full-time job, as I'm sure my colleagues here know. One of the other things we did in partnership with some of the really great community groups we work closely with was this Stronger Together campaign. So you'll hear me talk a lot about partners here. We would be, I don't know where we'd be without some of these community partners. So with the City of Kingman Economic Development Department, Office of Tourism, our Chamber of Commerce, and our local SBDC, we were able to compile some safety guidelines and provide posters with those guidelines, table tents, other PPE materials, hand sanitizer, masks, other protective gear like that to our downtown businesses to make sure that when customers were coming in, they knew what to expect from the business owners, and the business owners had some guidelines there for what they expect from their customers. So that was a really great collaborative effort. And, you know, even the gesture of going around to our businesses and saying, we have some funding available through the city. You know, what is it that we can do to help you? I think that gesture in itself was really important to a lot of our small businesses. So now touching on some of the relief programs that our city has been able to roll out during this time. So first we have the Parklet Pedlet program, which is a matching program. So I believe it's a 9 to 10 or a 9 to 1 matching program. Don't quote me on that though, because my colleagues know the details of it much better than me. But so if a city or if a business downtown wants to implement a Parklet or a Pedlet for their business, I believe they front 10% of the cost, and then the city makes up for the other 90%. And this allows for outdoor seating, which a lot of people just enjoy anyway, but also in COVID times, it allows for higher capacity numbers. Having outdoor seating helps with social distancing guidelines. So this has been a really great program. And I believe we've had 2 parklets pop up in our downtown district so far. And they look really great. I haven't gotten to try any of them out yet, but hopefully soon. We also have a facade improvement program through our city programs. And this is really about making a storefront more attractive to help with tourism efforts and to, you know, just attract people to our downtown district and to stop in at some of these businesses. We also have some Facebook marketing grants through our city. So our Office of Tourism is subsidizing Facebook advertising. And this office is also really data driven. So they know a lot of areas outside of Kingman where demographically, you know, people from certain other cities, especially in like Nevada, California, people who are likely to visit Kingman, or there are things in Kingman that could attract those populations. So having subsidized marketing ads for our businesses is really a tourism effort to try to bring in those people from other cities and try to get an influx of spending here for our local businesses. There was someone else who mentioned Local First Arizona. Our city is also subsidizing those memberships. So Local First Arizona has lots of great resources for small businesses. I believe that they are launching an online merchandising platform for the holiday season. So for some of our small businesses who aren't as tech savvy or don't have as big of an online presence, that could really make a difference for them, especially moving into the holiday season. And our city also recently launched a Shop Local program. So the way that this one works is if someone spends more than $20 at a locally owned business, they can send their receipt to our chamber. And then once a week through the end of November, our chamber is doing drawings where those people who send in the receipts, one of them will win a basket of goods or gift cards or prizes like that from locally owned businesses. So yeah, our city has been busy lately. And for us, we really see our role in as trying to raise as much awareness as possible over these programs for both our business owners to make sure that they're telling their customers about all the great things happening, and to the community as much as we can. So we are so lucky to have so many great local partners and to be able to support them that way. And I wanted to share just a few of our local businesses who have really found success in the past few months. One of them is a restaurant. So what this restaurant has been doing is once a week on Fridays, they give out these catered meals. And so it serves a family of 4. So earlier in the week, people can place an order and so then they can have this catered meal to feed 4 ready for them to pick up on Friday. So instead of having, lots of people come into their business and kind of linger and eat there or wait for their order, then they can just have a relatively low contact setup here. There's less food waste. It's been really working for them. So that's great for us to see. We also have a downtown retailer who has created an online store in the past few months. So, of course, that's great for previous customers who maybe aren't comfortable going into a physical store at the moment, or at the same time, that can attract customers outside of the Kingman area. So it's businesses like these that have been able to kind of get creative or really have an incentive to move their business in a different direction that have been seeing the most success in our community. And actually, both of these business owners even said these new practices that they're implementing are things that they had planned on doing for a long time, but sort of being forced into that uncomfortable situation and forced into a place where they need to change something in order to succeed was in the long run really good for their business. We've also had some other local groups, like we have a local theater group who performed a play in one of our downtown parks so that the audience could socially distance. We've had concerts in the park, which has been great for, to still have community events, but to do it just as safely as possible. So now I'll talk a little bit about our plans for the holiday season. And I'll start by going over a Halloween event that we had in partnership with our local farmers market. So we set up trick-or-treating through our downtown, and we asked businesses to participate and to abide by some sanitation guidelines that we were very clear about. And I think we attracted almost 1,000 people to our downtown area. It was all outdoors. We had each business set up a table outside, wear a mask the whole time. We provided hand sanitizer and we provided all the candy because we didn't we don't want to ask our business owners to, have to take on that expense just to participate in the event. And that was a really great community morale booster. People are really itching to have some kind of community event right now. So we got some really great feedback on that. And we even heard from a few business owners that they were talking to some of the parents and they said, oh, I didn't even realize that this store was down here. Or, oh, I've never even been to the downtown before. So yeah, again, just anything that we can do to get people downtown and to do it as safely as possible. That's really our focus for the holiday season. We also have some ideas for Shop Small Saturday. We don't have a concrete plan yet, but these are some of the ideas that we're playing with. So we're talking about encouraging some of our downtown businesses to set up a booth outside on Shop Small Saturday. We're also thinking of encouraging them to create curated gift baskets or bundles. So for example, if someone wants to create a kit with all the ingredients you need to make Christmas cookies at home or holiday cookies at home, and then sell that as like a bundle, that can be attractive to customers. We're talking about, of course, a social media campaign with some graphics on the economic benefits of shopping local and keeping your money in the local economy. A community pledge for community members to take, saying that they pledge to shop local for the holiday season, or at least buy maybe 25% of their holiday shopping locally, because a lot of times signing something like that really does help someone follow through. And we are also going to encourage creating like a Shop Small month, for the whole month of December, to prevent a lot of crowding just on Shop Small Saturday for those customers who might be uncomfortable with the crowds. So these are some of the ideas we have. Again, we haven't quite come up with a solid plan yet, but of course we have some, as I mentioned, really great partners in the community to help us pull off something safe that is really going to benefit our downtown businesses. We also had to imagine our cookie crawl event, which is Kingman Main Street's biggest fundraiser of the year. So in the past, the way this event worked was each participating downtown business would bake hundreds of cookies, and then community members would buy tickets and go downtown and stop at each of the participating businesses and get a cookie from each spot and check out their holiday decorations. So we had a holiday decoration storefront contest, and then we also had a contest for the best cookie. Of course, we can't do that this year, and we kind of had to rebrand a little bit. So this year it's the cookie craze and not the cookie crawl, because we want to promote safe crawling. So instead, what we're doing this year is we're selling boxes of assorted holiday cookies made by local bakers. So people can pre-order those, and then the day of the event, we'll have a booth set up near a mural that we did as a past project in a parking lot. So they can come outdoors, pick up their cookie orders. And then of course, we'll encourage them to go around to downtown businesses and check out their storefront decorations. We will still be doing the storefront decoration contest, but people will be voting online. So it was really important for us to still have something for this event, and make sure people didn't forget us, didn't forget this event, and also again just to try to spread some kind of holiday joy during such a tough year. And we have some other community events happening in the spirit of the holiday season. So typically we have a parade of lights that's actually put on by a different downtown or a different community organization, but we usually participate and have a float. Instead, they're talking about making it a reverse parade. So what that means is we would set up a float or a display, along the side of the road, and then the audience would actually drive through and kind of look at each booth or float outside of their windows and do it that way. We also have a historic locomotive in one of our downtown parks, and we usually do, it's called Light Up Locomotive Park. So we deck it out in Christmas lights, and we're planning on doing that this year too, just to make sure our community knows that we're here to support them in the safest way that we can, and just to continue to build community in this time. Yeah, so if you'd like to check out our website, there's our email, Facebook, Instagram. We'd love to connect with anyone interested.
Great job, Gina. Does Sarah, do you have anything you want to add from a business perspective, or from being the president of the Main Street program? And what a great job you guys have been doing. So I'll let
Thank you so much. Yes, sorry to interrupt. Gina did an amazing job. She's been so wonderful. It's been amazing to have her. You can see my dog here is very naughty. Get down. As a downtown business, I really have felt a lot of support from our city and from Main Street, and I think that really it is about still having that sense of community. People are really craving that, and so trying to figure out ways that we can still do things in a safe way. So I think Gina did a really good job sharing everything that we've got going on. I know at one point, I just remembered this during your presentation, Gina, we had a lot of people that came out and tagged the sidewalks in front of all the businesses, and just took sidewalk chalk and told the businesses how much they loved them. And so it was fun to come to our shop and find all these love letters all over the sidewalks. And so, yeah,
great.
Really, Gina did a great job.
Good. So in the chat box, I'm sure everybody saw, Jim wanted to know what pedlicks were. We know what parklets are. And Cindy from Phoenix, I believe she's from, explained and provided a great PDF for everybody to download. And then Glendale is congratulated on what a great job you're doing it. They also shop there downtown, and where you can enter a $50 gift card to downtown Glendale. So they are working forward there. So did you guys in the past, and maybe Vail might answer this, I don't know, the big question we have, and I know Danny mentioned it, that they were going to have it, but the whole thing about Santa. Santa is a big part of a lot of the holidays, and you know, downtowns have typically had Santa there, so you could go and sit on Santa's lap or get your picture taken with Santa. So with that said, are you guys, is anybody that has talked so far doing Santa? Have you, Danny?
Yeah, we're doing Santa. Mrs. Claus is not going to be able to make it, but Mr. Claus is going to be behind what looks like a picture frame, like a Christmas picture frame. And then the people are standing in front of the picture frame, and Santa's in the picture. And then the whole picture, it looks like they're all together.
So then you'll be social distancing them outside or on the sidewalk, or?
Yeah, so we have a long line outside that wraps around the block.
Okay.
And we're gonna mark the X's, you know, on the sidewalk 6 feet apart, and hope for the best.
Social distance Santa is what Jim said we should hashtag it as. It'll be, maybe we have to do one in February, and we'll talk about, well, how did the holidays turn out? That's good to know.
Oh, on the Santa thing, one of our businesses downtown wants to do it. And from what they've discussed with me so far, so they're going to do it on, we share a patio with them, Main Street does. So they're going to do it outside. And I believe that either they're all wearing masks or it's kind of like the same thing where it's like set behind in a frame, but they're going to be live and it's Santa and Mrs. Claus. And then they'll kind of arrange themselves like around the people that are 6 feet in front of them.
Okay,
So-
great. Let's see, do we have any other questions in the chat box? Go ahead, Danny.
Adding a mailbox for
Mm.
Santa Claus is not the same as meeting Santa Claus, but sometimes it fulfills that need for the parents to be able to put the letter, in the mailbox and then so that they can read it themselves and they know what their kid wants. And
Yeah.
having that could help.
And I was talking to a client, and that's what Glendale Shea is saying. They're discussing the letters to Santa. My client in California, in a small little rural community I was talking to, that Santa is the huge one, Santa on the Plaza, right? So they can't do anything at festivals yet in their community. And so I suggested that they maybe do some like once a day or have a live Facebook and Santa pops into a business and shows up and it's live Facebook and you video it and then you can video and sit it on your social media. So like if the business was there and it's like, oh, wait a minute, boys and girls, look who's here, Santa's here. And he pops in and talks to the business owner and they talk about the business they're in and Santa's talking about, I hope all the boys and girls are being good. And they tape it because live Facebook you could tape and then set it on their, the association's website where it'd be, parents could plug in or something. I don't know. That was my idea. Might be just really, really difficult to do. So with that said, I'll be quiet and we'll let Vale, we'll have JJ, you want to share your screen and let you wrap it up and then we'll go from there.
And oops, let's see here. Oh, just a second. I'm still trying to get my, there we go. Okay, very good. Okay, Vale Preservation Society, administers the Vale Connects Arizona Main Street program in Vale. And Vale is an unincorporated community which presents opportunities and challenges, both. Holidays in 2020. Well, like everyone is experiencing, there's just constant change. And so finding those ways to pivot to, connect to our community when we really can't connect in person to each other safely. These are some photos from our past events. In the past, our Colossal Fourth event over the course of a week brings about nearly 12,000 people together at various events. And we're still a little bit in flux as to how to do our 'Tis the Season event. It just feels like there's a lot of changing, circumstances that we're trying to fulfill. But when the pandemic began earlier this year, one of our goals was how do we connect? How do we continue to serve our Main Street businesses? And so we really facilitated sharing, help them how to find resources. We created a list that they could email when one of them had found something really useful that was hard to find. We had a list and then we shared that regularly between the businesses. We had online meetings and sometimes those were, especially in the beginning, really good just where people could share their frustrations and information. The other thing that we did is, like everyone else, we really used Facebook and social media to promote and share changing hours, services, safety requirements. And those posts really got a lot of views from the public. So I think they really helped the businesses and they helped the community to know who was open, when they're open, and how to support our local businesses. There are, in our Main Street corridor, there's 25 businesses, and 7 of those are restaurants. Okay, so coming up with new strategies to reach our community. One of the things that we're doing, we used to do like a history bus tour. We would have in-person programming. Well, we can't do that anymore. So we are doing a monthly, it's about 20 minutes long video that explores some aspect of Vail's history or heritage or natural history. And December's will, of course, connect to the holidays. But that's actually been really successful. We have already, with these virtual tours, reached as many people as we would normally reach with those tours in 3 years. So 'tis the season. That's what our holiday event is called. And we've been doing it since 2007. And usually we have, it's a half-day long event, and sometimes we have hay wagon rides, and we have the school choirs come out. We have a big petting zoo, jumping castles, all of that fun stuff. And of course, none of that can happen this year. Our committee is volunteer driven, and so the planning has, kind of gone back and forth with how can we do this safely. Well, what we've settled on is that we will do a virtual live stream event. And in the past, Rincon Valley Fire Department delivers Santa, and all the children visit. This year, Santa is going to turn on the Tree of Lights, and everyone will have to experience that as it's live streamed on Facebook. So we'll be decorating with more lights. We have our Tree of Lights, we'll have Santa, we'll have a living nativity. We're inviting all of the businesses and organizations that are right at our historic downtown to decorate. We are inviting our Cornhole Showdown sponsors. And so going kind of back to Cornhole, Cornhole is really our big fundraiser of every year. And that was a challenge, but we have managed to do one Cornhole Showdown, and we have another one planned for December 5th, the same day as 'tis the season, earlier in the day. And so, we've brought in some sponsorships with that, some donations, and those donors are invited then to decorate one of the tiny homes in Vail's downtown or Christmas tree. But there are some challenges with Vail's downtown. There's it's Vail's downtown, or the historic downtown, is bounded by 2 sets of railroad tracks, and they're about 200 feet apart. And as we thought about safety and that the cars could get backed up with those railroad tracks, we decided that wasn't really feasible. So everything will be set up, it's being live streamed, but in thinking about how to engage the community, we came up with an idea to invite our local businesses, organizations, and families to pre-record, film a little message, and they'll email that to Vail Preservation Society. And we're going to incorporate those little filmed messages into the live streamed event. So that's one of the ways that we're looking to connect with community and make that live streamed event, a little more interesting and active. We did have to turn a Colossal Fourth in July into a virtual event. And I'll just say it just wasn't the same as gathering together. And we went from about almost 12,000 people participating over the course of a week to really about 350. all together. We live streamed the fireworks. We did hold one small event in person, but just wasn't the same. So I'm hoping that 'Tis the Season is going to turn out to be, you know, to get more participation. And really our goal this year is to, you know, this is from one of our Adobe workshops with children. And, you know, it's just like everyone else. We're really sad that we can't bring people together, but we're committed to just being adaptable and flexible and keep Zooming, because that's how we're holding all of our planning meetings. That's how we bring our volunteers together to plan. And quite frankly, how we've held most of our events this year. I sure hope 2021 is different. But that's what's happening in Vail.
Thank you, JJ. You can go ahead and stop sharing your screen. That's
Okay.
good.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And does anybody have any questions for JJ? She is not doing much justice to how hard this woman works over in Vail, and has been a miracle worker, saving Vail, saving the historic, the old post office and store, and just working so hard. So I know for all of us that are downtowners and event planners and love community development, it's been a difficult year. I cry every morning because I can't see my friends, and then I cry every night because I had to spend the whole day with my husband. No, not really. I love my husband. So does anybody want to, Janine in Sedona, she put something in the chat that Sedona is doing Santa with reservations. So Janine, do you want to unmute and give us a little heads up what that's going to look like? Or do you, I don't know if she can unmute herself. Hi. Oh, okay, got it. She says she doesn't have her mic, so that's okay. But she did put a link to where we can find out more about visit sedona.com events, and where you can have a reservation with Santa. So if you can't find them anywhere else, go up to Sedona and make a reservation now, because I'm sure it's going to fill up. I haven't heard if Flagstaff's doing their Polar Express.
I haven't heard about that.
Has anybody heard from Flagstaff about that? That was one I know that's a pretty big event for the railroad. Okay, so let's see. Jim's been busy thanking everybody, putting things in the chat. Anybody else have any questions or want to share anything?
Well, I also need to congratulate JJ for receiving a recent Arizona Humanities Award for her leadership in Vail. That was a great honor, and they have their awards program was fully online, and you can see the specifics on her award. So congratulations, JJ. You're an amazing,
Thank you very much.
amazing
Thank
resource.
You're going to need a bigger wall of shame here, JJ.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you very much.
Danny, did you have something to say?
I wanted to share just a couple things I've discovered over the last couple months. The website organization Independent We Stand.
Oh, yeah.
I have stolen lots of graphics and neat things to use on social media from them, and good ideas. And then I discovered a conference that normally happens in the Northeast. It happens every year, but because of COVID, they were online this year, and it's called the Radically Rural Conference, which was, and I attended all of the downtown Main Street sessions, and I thought it was really good. So take a look at that, put that on your radar for next year. I think it costs $75 or $50 or something like that, but I thought it was really worth it.
Radically rural.
Radically rural. Yeah.
That's a difficult one to say.
I know. So since they could do it online, they had participants from all over this year.
Great. Thanks for those two.
And then I follow lots of other downtowns all over the country for great ideas. I don't know if any of you guys have run into the guy Flip This Town, Ron Drake with Flip This Town. he has a lot of great ideas. Someone to follow.
Good.
That's all.
And yeah, Sergio wants to learn more about setting up the farmers market. So watch for that, Vance. Did you want to share a little bit how you did that while we have some time?
Sure. It's kind of one day we had a farmer come in with 12 artichokes, and I had some tomato starts that I wasn't going to use, and that was our market for day one. And we just kept going, and people kept bringing stuff. We're going to have goldfish pretty soon that are raised locally for pets, so that'll be fun. We got a grant from the United Way for a refrigerator, so we have a nice 2-door glass refrigerator, so you can see right into what's available. And we've got a new farmer just came in with green beans and with okra, and lots of squash has been coming in the door. We don't charge right now. We have someone at the front desk all the time, and they're the cashier, and we don't charge for any space. Anyone can sell. We will be developing a system where we can, right now, because of our point of sale and the credit card processing and everything, we're taking a loss, but it's not much. And with that grant, we're hopefully recoup some of that. But it's been, yeah, we don't even have a business. We have a business plan in the works. We have a plan in the works, but right now it's, we just opened because we'd been talking about it. We started a conversation in October of last year, and then every month it seemed like we had our meeting with our local food group and nothing was happening. And so we just opened.
Just threw a table out there. So you do it right at the chamber's office in the parking lot, or?
We do it inside just because
Oh,
of
you do it
summer
inside.
here obviously is no fun outside. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see it change into once a week as soon as COVID gets out of here and we can gather, because it's a lot more fun to do some activities and be together with people. Obviously we all know that. We're just talking about it, but until then we'll stick with our slow trickle every day. And we've got local art. It's been fun. Got 15 vendors now. So.
Oh, wow. So you just push it out through social media when you have some artichokes for sale or some
Yeah.
tomatoes? Huh.
We did have a website running with everything, and then that got to be overwhelming for our folks. So it's not quite up to date, but we'd like to be able to do it. We're working with a delivery business that's popped up that might be doing some at home. If you're homeward bound and you can't leave, we'll send some stuff over. It's kind of what we've been doing.
Great.
But other than that, we've asked people to come because we just don't have the manpower to drive it over.
Okay, so if anybody else that's any of the attendees, if you have anything you want to share, how you're pivoting this holiday, feel free to unmic or type it into the chat and I'll read it out, or you guys can read it. Yeah. Okay, well, is anybody participating in Artist Sunday? It's the day after Shop Saturday. It's a national artist-driven campaign. It's its first year. It's called Artist Sunday. Just Google it. Jim will put it in the chat. And there's a portal for economic development and artist organizations and a toolkit for you to register your events. It doesn't have to be just an event that's on Sunday. It can after Thanksgiving. So I think that's what, the 29th or the 30th. But it can be if you're doing a whole year-long event, if your event starts in January, in November, and it runs through January, you can list that. And then there's another portal for the opposite side for artists to be able to register, put their websites up, and then you can search They have a huge search engine that you can put in the name of the town that you want to see who's registered. So they're really trying to bring forward the creative community and the artists and making it kind of piggybacking on, for-profit businesses, or artists are for-profit too, but more of the traditional business Saturday with Sunday Artist Sunday. So check it out. It is national. There's a lot of organizations that are supporting it. They have a lot of cool graphics and collateral to push it out. I know that it's kind of this like secret, but hopefully maybe next year. So that's one that I think that a lot of our rural communities could help get out the word to their arts council and or to your artist community, especially if you have a co-op artist gallery in your downtown. It might be really fun to look at that. So I know about that national campaign. Okay, well, I really just want to thank all of my panelists. You guys,
Lonnie,
yes.
you want to say anything about, we've been working with the National Main Street Center in DC and the National Trust on some possible legislation to support our Main Street communities, capital S, capital M, capital S, or small m, small s. We're just making sure that we're out there hearing what's happening nationwide to support local business, support small.
Yeah. So Main Street is the national organization that oversees Main Street, but they've been and they are part of the National Trust, or they have affiliated, or they're one of their partners, and they have been doing some heavy lobbying, because they can lobby, and education, and trying to be in the CARES Act that is kind of on hold right now. And $100 million as part of the Economic Development Administration, EDA, as part of that CARES Act, that would then come down to communities, both for the organizations that are overseeing Main Street programs as well as for small businesses. So they kind of put it on, their lobbying on hold until after the election, but it's gearing up. It is on our Facebook page, as well as the information is on our Arizona Downtown Alliance website, as well as if you go to National Main Street and Speak Up Main Street, it'll give you all of the information and how you can become part of that movement. And then once we start to gear up and we know what they want in terms of educating our two senators, which we have maybe a new one in our office. So that is part of what Main Street is doing, as well as support lots of the webinars they're doing. So a lot of them are actually free. You don't have to be a Main Street member. So they are all on their Main Street website, where you can plug into them, as well as they're doing some great blogging about, they have a really great one out on retail and what to expect for the holidays. They did a survey. And they some positive, they feel that this is going to be a good positive year for supporting local Main Street businesses. People are going to be shopping earlier. They're planning on spending about the same amount, if not more than they did last year. So there's some positive talking points there if you want to use that in any of your e-newsletters, or push it out through your social media platforms. So yeah, so definitely follow our Facebook, Arizona, our Facebook Arizona Downtown Alliance, as well as our website, as well, like Danny, I follow a lot of different organizations. Independent We Stand has some great graphics that I use for Halloween. I'm sure they'll be having them come out for Christmas. Lots of resources out there, as well as just turning inward into our own state, and all of our cities and towns love to share. I know that there's a new, and maybe Glendale Shay can talk about this one a little bit, is that there's the larger urban communities have started the downtowners, and that's kind of like Scottsdale and Phoenix and Tempe and Glendale and Queen Creek and Chandler. And they have tried to organize a Friday, once a month type of Zoom meeting where everybody can share topics, and they have an agenda. So Shay, are you able to talk a little bit about that, or I'm not sure if she can unmute. Yeah. Anyways, okay. So Dan, did I answer your question, Jim?
Yes, I do want to, a couple other little things while we're here, while we've got a captive audience. We are looking for session topics for the 2021 Arizona Historic Preservation Conference. The theme of this year's conference or next year's conference is layered landscapes. And just go to azpreservation.org, the drop-down menu 2021 conference, and you'll see the link. So another opportunity to get the word out about all the things, or good things that are happening across the state. And I'm just have to, I'm thinking about when hearing everybody and what everyone is doing, and it's it's wonderful work. I'm just thinking and hoping that 2021, when we all as a state, as a nation, think about community, think about rural Arizona, we can solve problems by thinking on those issues that we all care about, and whatever political persuasion we are, if we're thinking about community, if we're thinking about downtowns, if we're thinking about rural Arizona, we can come together and do great things. And you're all doing great things, but I'm sure we'll do even better things next year.
So Shay says she doesn't have a mic, but yes, they do monthly meetings for their downtown merchants. So
and maybe that's something we want to think about. Or Lonnie is, we have the Zoom account that if you want to hold regular periodic webinars or Zoom meetings, we can do that. The group is interested.
Sure. Shay said, yeah, as you guys can read in the chat box. So Jim, does the chat render with the rest of the video, or
Yes.
do we? Okay, so we'll have all those links and everything. Okay, well, with that said, thank you, everyone. And I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season, very profitable for your businesses. And from there, I just want to thank again my panelists. You did a great job. You make me so proud. And I look forward to sometime again coming to your communities and seeing you in person. If not, I guess I'll be starting those quarterly Zoom get-togethers. I think a quarterly would be good. I don't know. Everybody wants to hear me talk, monthly, but I think maybe the quarterly Downtown Alliance open office hours or open Zoom hours might be really fun. And if anybody, maybe we can, oh, I know what I was going to say. The Arizona Association for Economic Development, they are doing a very interesting quarterly tour my community, or tour a city. So they have a host, like I think the last one was Chandler, and they are doing kind of like a virtual tour of what they're doing in their town, in their city. And it's kind of like a virtual take it on the road, kind of a road trip to Chandler, and then Chandler's talking about whatever they're doing and their economic development efforts, and not so much about pivoting in the holidays, but more about showcasing some of what their community's been doing. So that's kind of a great idea. And it was like, I think if you were a member of AAED, it was free, but if you weren't a member, it was $10. So, $10 is nothing to go and see and get behind the scenes. If anybody on this meeting has participated in one of those through AAED, let me know. Chime in about what you thought and if you joined in one of those. But I haven't been able to make one because it hasn't worked with my calendar. But I want to try see what they're doing. Okay, well, Jim, thank you for hosting Arizona Preservation Foundation.
Thanks, everybody.
You bet. Thank
you,
you.
Kate.
It's great seeing everybody.
Bye, Sarah. Bye, Danny. Congratulations.
Stay safe.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Happy holidays.